Are you thinking about signing up for the Table Topics Master role at your local Toastmasters Club meeting, but you're not exactly sure where to get started? Don't worry, you've come to the perfect place. In this video, I am going to show you a live example of me taking on the Table Topics Master role at my local Toastmasters Club. Hey everyone, my name is Wade Patterson. I am passionate about impactful communication. That includes all sorts of things, such as Toastmasters, public speaking skills, communication skills in general. So if those are areas of life that you are working on or trying to improve, please subscribe to my channel. I do my best to put out a lot of content that will help you accomplish your public speaking or communication goals. I actually did another video not so long ago about how to take on the Table Topics Master role. I'm going to link to it as well. You're going to see it up in the corner, and check that video out because I go into a little bit more detail in terms of preparing for the actual role. With this video, it's the live example. You'll get to see me actually doing the role, and afterward, I'm going to make a couple of comments on what went well and areas I could have improved upon. So let's get right to that video example, but just before we do, one note. This video doesn't show the actual table topics answers because not everyone is comfortable with being filmed and having their answers on a YouTube video, but that's no problem at all. You're going to see my table topics questions, and then you'll see me right after the speaker speaks, and I will transition into the next question. So this will give you an idea of how you take on specifically the Table Topics Master role. So let's take a look at that live example. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, Madam Area Director, fellow Toastmasters in person, on Zoom, and our welcome guest, Tim. Table Topics is one of the most exciting parts of the Toastmasters meeting because it forces us to be audacious in our answers. It inspires impromptu thinking. Table Topics isn't a section you can really prepare for. Given today's theme of courage, my first question goes to Johannes. Johannes, when is an example of a time in your life that you have summoned up the courage to deal with a difficult situation? Great job, Johannes. I've seen and heard about those Spartan races, and yes, that is courageous to sign up. Very well done on that. Tim, my next question is for you. If you're comfortable, are you comfortable taking on a Table Topics question?
What's the topic?
Well, you're about to find out. The question for you, Tim, is on the flip side. So I asked Johannes about a time he summoned up the courage to deal with a difficult situation. On the flip side, can you share a time in your life where you wished you would have summoned up that courage, but you didn't in that moment? You know, when I was thinking up that question, it's a difficult one. The question itself of acknowledging a time that you didn't have the courageousness. But I was tuned in on Zoom last week and I saw Tim respond to the Table Topics question, so I could tell that he'd be able to take it on. And sometimes you get the perfect person to answer a question. And just a great answer there, Tim. Very well done. Moya, in your presentation, which was a fantastic learning point for all of us on how to take on contests, one of the things I was wondering is maybe a little bit of an editorial side of it. Are Zoom contests good or bad for Toastmasters? The fact that now we have the contests past a certain point, Zoom only, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? All right, there you have it. So let's talk now a little bit about some of the things I did well and some of the things I could have improved upon in that Table Topics Master role. The first thing I think I did pretty well was the quality and the delivery of the questions. The first two questions had to do specifically with the theme of the meeting, which was courage. And that first question, how did you summon up the courage to deal with a difficult situation? And then the second question, when was a time when you didn't summon up that courage, but you wish you had? Those were, I felt, good questions, especially for the club members that I picked and their ability to answer those. Thought-provoking enough, but not so complicated that I would putting them in a spot to fail or that they would struggle with it. So I liked the questions. The third question I thought was a good question. However, my delivery of it wasn't as strong as I would have liked. I fumbled over my words a little bit as I tried to articulate that question, but thankfully the club member I was asking it to, she is a phenomenal club member and was able to handle that question no problem. So overall, quality of questions I felt was pretty strong in this Table Topics role. The second thing I did well was right off the start, the introductions. We had an area director in the room, and I started off by acknowledging the area director, Mr. or Madam Toastmaster, the rest of the Toastmasters on Zoom, and welcome guests. I brought everybody into the fold, and that is something, especially in the Toastmasters program, that is important to think about, is that you want your introductions to be proper, relevant, and it's a nice formality. This translates to real life as well. If you're presenting in front of a group of people, acknowledging certain people in the crowd, even if you're emceeing a wedding, this is something I talk about in that video, how to MC a wedding, getting into those formalities. This is great practice, and that's something I think I did well. The third thing I excelled at in this Table Topics Master role was the transitions between questions. This is a skill that is something I've worked on for a long time, but it's very powerful when you have the ability to not simply stand up at the front of the room and ask questions, which is what beginners often do in the Table Topics Master role. But beyond that, listening carefully to the answers, and then as you thank that Table Topics answer respondent or club member, you make a little comment about something that they specifically said. That helps make the whole session just feel very smooth, and it's really a skill that separates good speakers from great speakers. That ability to transition naturally, and it makes everything feel very comfortable, very easy to listen to. Two other small things that I think I did pretty well in this Table Topics Master session was the use of the word of the day. The word of the day was audacious. Anytime you take on a Toastmasters role, challenge yourself to use the word of the day. This is something that is nice. It's a nice addition. It's a good challenge as a speaker. But again, it has that real life application, because if you're speaking at a conference and there's a theme to that conference, by using that word or that theme in your speech, it makes it feel like your speech or your speaking opportunity is tailor-made, is customized to that particular event, and it's meaningful to do that. I used audacious, which was good. And the final thing that I did pretty well in this Table Topics Master role, again, a very small thing, but I exited the stage opposite of where the Table Topics speaker was coming from. If they were coming from my left, I would shake their hand. You never want to leave the stage empty. You shake their hand, and then I would exit to my right. If the speaker was coming from the right, I would shake his or her hand, and then I would exit to the left. This way, it eliminates the crossing of paths or the awkward moving past each other in a relatively small speaking area. A very minor thing, but something that I think I did well. All right, enough about what I did well. Where could I have improved upon on this Table Topics Master journey? There were three things that I think I could have done better. The first, the question was to a club member, actually a guest, so a new guest in our club. His name's Tim, and I put him a bit on the spot. I asked him if he was comfortable with the question while I was standing in front of everyone, and that's not the greatest approach. What I should have done is I should have spoken to Tim earlier, before the meeting even started. I did have an opportunity, but I didn't do this, and I should have asked him if he'd be comfortable with the question. We never want to set up guests for failure or make them feel uncomfortable to answer a question. I do believe in challenging people to push them a little bit outside their comfort zone. However, doing so in front of the whole group wasn't really fair to Tim. The reason I chose to do it is because I had seen him speak in a previous meeting, and he was a pretty strong speaker. He's already operating at an elite level. Therefore, I figured Tim could handle the question, and he did. He knocked it out of the park. He did a fantastic job. But my approach to the situation could have been a bit better in that situation. A second thing that I could have improved upon is something I already mentioned. That was the third question I asked. I fumbled over my words a little bit. The question itself, I think, was a good question. What I was trying to ask is, now that the Toastmasters program has moved contests beyond a certain level to virtual only, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Because I have my own opinions on that choice. I think that speaking in person is important from a contest point of view, and I don't think that purely virtual is necessarily a great idea. But I wanted to ask somebody who's high up within our club, who's involved with contests, to force her to give an opinion on the subject. So I think the question was a good question, but I fumbled over the delivery. That is something that I could have improved upon and will aim to improve upon in future Table Topics Master roles. A final thing that I missed a bit of an opportunity on was coming up at the end of the Table Topics session and tying a bow on it, wrapping it up and handing it back to the Toastmaster. The reason I didn't do this is that we were a little bit tight for time, and squeezing in that third question pushed us a little bit far back. Therefore, the Toastmaster was eager to get the meeting back on time. But that's on me. I should have time managed a little bit better, perhaps not asked a third question, just 2 questions so that I could have come back up and then wrapped up the table topic session. But there's some debate there because you also want to get as many questions as possible out to club members. Overall, I was pretty happy with how it went, but there definitely were a few areas I could have improved upon. The feedback from the General Evaluator was that I did an excellent job with the role. They thought that the questions were strong. They thought that the people I asked were the right people to ask in that meeting. So positivity from the General Evaluator, which was something that was nice to hear. So if you were on the fence thinking about taking on the Table Topics Master role, do it. Absolutely do it. One of the best things about this role is that you don't have to take on a table topics question. You are the one with all the power. Table topics questions are such a difficult, challenging part of a Toastmasters meeting, and you get that power. You don't have to answer a question. You are the one asking the questions. This is something that any skill level Toastmaster can take on, whether you're a beginner, moderate, or advanced. Sign up for that Table Topics Master role. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If it was, please consider subscribing to my channel. That would mean so much to me. I love putting out these videos, this content, and it means so much when I hear comments from somebody in India or Indonesia or Portugal saying that they are a Toastmasters member and my video helped them accomplish one of the Toastmasters tasks. I can't ask for anything more than that. It means so much. So thank you for all of the support. I really appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are looking for a little bit of coaching help with your next speech, I am providing one-on-one evaluations. My contact email is in the video description. Reach out to me and let's discuss what that could look like.